G'day folks, I'm here with Julian McNeil, who's an avid collector of older cars himself, and he's going to do a bit of a walk around this marvellous car park we have here at the moment and talk a bit about some of the cars. Okay, Julian, let's go.
Well, this one's a 1916 Benz, a rare and very high quality car that was restored by a chap in New South Wales called John Wards. Now, John found it in pieces and restored it over a period of time. 1916, so Benz obviously made in Germany. It wasn't until 1926 that Mercedes and Benz joined together, so that's why it's a Benz. My own personal opinion about this car is it probably came out to Australia as war reparation, and but John found it in the paddock, you know, in pieces. But
as many of them are. Okay, moving along because we've got quite a few to get through.
Well, let's go this way.
Okay, rightio. Let's have a look at this one.
This one's a Model T Ford. Very typical example of an early Model T Ford. They were lovely veterans, light with a powerful engine for the size of car that they are, and really that's why they were so popular. Ford was the fellow who really got the mass production of vehicles to a high level. He wasn't the first one to use mass production, but he certainly made it extremely profitable and very good value for the people who bought Model Ts.
Okay, where are we going to go next, Julian?
Well, this one's a Crosley, a British car. My guess is it's around 1912. Crosleys were a high quality car that were often used by royal tours, etc., attesting to good, solid British veteran.
Okay, right. And next?
This one's a Wolseley. Now, Wolseley's also were a car. They're notable for their Wolseley was started by Herbert Austin. Herbert Austin left Wolseley in around 1905 or 6. Prior to that, Herbert Austin developed the motoring side of the Wolseley Manufacturing Company, which were actually notable because they produced mechanical sheep shears. And Herbert Austin originally was sent out to Australia to learn and run the Wolseley sheep shearing manufacturer, but they made a very good car in around the 1900 to 1904 or 5.
Okay, moving right along.
This one's a Talbert. So Talbert were a company started in England in about 1904. They were started by a combination of Adolphe Clément, who was a French manufacturing entrepreneur and engineer who was involved in a number of companies, including the Clement Company. He sold the Clement Company, but he went to England and joined with the Earl of Shrewsbury. And so Talbots were the cars made by that company in England, named after Talbot, who was a British general many years beforehand, but some relative of the Earls of Shrewsbury. And in France, they were sold as Bayards or Clement Bayards.
Right, yes, okay. Next along.
Next along is a Dodge. So Dodge Brothers started off making components for the Ford Motor Company, but then when they were edged out of the Ford Motor Company, the Dodge Brothers set up their own manufacturing company, made a very solid car of their own, starting in about 1916, and a lot of these, they are very robust and again good for value car. Many of them came into Australia in the post-war period.
Okie dokie, let's move along.
This is a lovely example of Vauxhall. Vauxhall's again a high-quality British car. So this one's a 1911, I think, Model A Vauxhall. Vauxhall's, like a lot of companies at the time, developed a racing history.
Yes.
And so they made a sporting car. This was more of the passenger vehicles that they had made. But they eventually were bought out by General Motors in 1926.
Okay, move along. You've encyclopedic knowledge there, Julian. Well done. Where do we go next?
Well, Buick were it's a Buick. Buick were a bit like an upmarket, again, American car made in Detroit, and they were a bit like, at this stage, a bit like an upmarket Model T.
Right. Okay. On. Plenty to choose from.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, we've got a series of Fords here.
Yeah. Quite a number of Model Ts, and they showed how that they developed. They made 15 million Model Ts between about 1910 and 1926, when they became, if you like, very much outdated. But this panel of three sort of show the development from an early. They're a lovely early car. You know, they were a very jaunty looking and veteran. But as they developed it up until into the 1920s, they became much more staid and less attractive. And there are the ones that you'll find here are what's called brass radiator Fords. And they had brass radiators like this up until about 1916.
Okie dokie, next, move along. What do we got here?
We got two Darracqs. So
okay, this is a Darracq as well. Yes.
Yeah, they're both Darracqs, both twin cylinder. That one I think is 1909. So Darracq was a French manufacturing company. Started in just before about 1900, and they made singles and twins. Darracqs were again a very good value for money car at the time, because they had quite a strong engine, good horsepower, and Darracq were one of the major producers, the top five, you would say, of motor manufacturing companies in France up until about 1910. They came into trouble when they started to develop a car that had a rotary valve instead of a poppet valve, and that was in 1912. The change in technology was really too much for them, and so at that time, Alexander Darracq was bought out of the company by British investors, and the Darracqs got incorporated into STD, Sunbeam Talbert Darracq.
Okay, and last on the list here for now, what have we got here?
Well, this is an FN. So FNs were a Fabrique Nationale. They're a Belgian company, again, high quality car. I've got to say that because the FN fraternity are over there looking in the
taking it out on the bonnet.
And this is a lovely original vehicle. If you're ever in the Australian Army, or in the time of the Vietnam War, or in the 60s and 70s, you would know FN, because they were like a lot of car manufacturing companies. They were produced armaments, in particular the FN rifle, which was the standard Australian infantry rifle.
Good, thank you very much, Gillian. Really appreciate that. That's a fantastic little tour. We'll call it quits just for now. We might get you to go through the back car park shortly and see what happens out there. There's an awful lot of cars here to talk about. Thank you very much, Gillian. Thank you.